Damn! Good morning, good morning. So today I'm going to be teaching you guys how to synchronize carburetors, multiple carburetors at one time. I will be using this Suzuki Bandit. I spoke to Moto-Resto, who is one of the original owners of this bike. I will reference his YouTube channel down below. I spoke to Moto-Resto, Tom, from over there. Good guy. If you're looking to get a bike fixed or work on one or restore one, Tom's your guy. I've synchronized carbs before. I tried to show you guys how to do it with my ZZ600, ZZR600, but unfortunately those carbs were in tune still. However, Tom said it's been, I don't know, number of years, 3 years since he's touched this bike and sold it to multiple people, and most likely this has not had the carb synced. And I can tell at low RPM when you go to give her the juice or the beans, there's a little fluttering. You can hear it, and that's normally carbs being out of sync. I also noticed that I think one carb is set higher than the rest or lower than the rest, which is causing kind of an engine jerking sensation. You can actually hear it at idle, and I think that's all solvable with a quick synchronization of the carbs. It's a lot easier than people think. There's not really much to it. It's just fiddling with things and until you find the fine-tuning spot for these machines. So we're going to be removing the seat. I am going to have you on my tripod for probably most of it. If I have to remove you from the tripod to talk things out, I will. And I will be using mostly my wireless mic attached to my phone. So you guys should have pretty good audio for pretty much the entire time, I would hope. But this is if you drive, anybody who drives a carbureted machine, always maintain your carbs. Less work in the future if you just maintain them now. I kid you not. I cannot be more pressing about that. Carbs are your life. They are very expensive to rebuild, and it costs a fortune to bring them to a shop, which is why we do this stuff on this channel. And so because we know that carbs are your life, you need to take care of them properly. So this is going to be so much fun. I can already tell it's going to be extremely hard to get to these vacuum leads to hook them up. But we're gonna take a look in here and see what we can come up with. I see that there's vacuum tubes that run all over the place. Let me remove this gas tank. So the first thing we're going to do, set this aside, pull off the new seat cover that I put on there, and set this aside. Hopefully the battery comes in today. I can pop in the battery before I throw everything back together. And we're going to pull what I assume are these two 10mm bolts. So as you can see, the tank is loose because these were not tightened down properly, which means the tank was off recently, because I can undo these by hand, and I did not do that. So yeah, crazy. So for now, we're going to set all this right up here so I know where it's at. Same thing with this one. Suppose I should have checked that out, huh? Probably getting some vibrations from the tank. Crazy. Did not look at that prior to this, so tank should just come right off now. Should probably, if I assume correctly, it should pull up and then slide back. I'm assuming there's a hook that this slides into in the front. So let me get you on the tripod here and we'll figure out what we got to do to get this tank off so we can get to the vacuum lines so that we can hook up my vacuum gauges, and I'll show you guys how to properly synchronize a carb. Alright guys, I have my wireless mic on now, so you should be able to hear me no matter where I go. You should have pretty good audio. It might increase and decrease based on how I'm leaning over, but you should have good audio. So let me lift this up. Oops. And the tank guides came off, so I need to remember how those go down. So let me set these over here real fast. These go up. So let's give a little pull here and see how this backs up. Yep, there's that. All right. So probably going to have to look at the petcock now, which I assume is somewhere over here. So what's holding her down? Let's see here. Looks like the petcock on this side is what's holding her down. maybe. Yeah, okay, so that's what's going on here. So this needs to go forward. And, okay. Well, that's a really annoying gas line setup on here. Huh. It's kind of silly how they have this petcock set up on here. So I'm not sure if you guys can see that, but that petcock literally has to go down through here. So you literally have to pick up the tank and pick it up a little bit and then pull it out sideways to get it out. That's a really shitty setup, to be honest with you. Really, I wouldn't have done things that way, I guess. Maybe that's me. I don't know. I wouldn't have done it that way. So, all right, let's see what it figures. Let's see what it takes here to pull the tank. The whole unit is blown out there. And this one on this side has a crack in it. Let's get ready to go. And the one in the middle is completely gone. Oh, shit. The fuck? That sucks. I wanted you guys to be able to see what's going on here. So I moved the tank. This is obviously what's reading your gas capacity in the tank, basically, whether you're full or low. So we're going to unclip this line. There we go. And then over here, I can see that we have a little zip tie holding on one of these lines onto the petcock. And because we're going to be disconnecting the petcock, we're going to go ahead and cut this one. There it is. It should just pop right off now. Nice sharp utility knife, really gets the job done quickly. And I'm thinking this might be some kind of vacuum or ventilation port. I'm going to disconnect it and hope for the best. There we go. Yep. Okay, good. Some kind of vacuum port. Oops. Where the hell did that go? Ah. I really just lose that line. Oh well. It's going to be the only one in there, so I'll find it. Oh, there it is. All right. So next, if we turn this, and I don't want to turn it too much more, but there is a, let me move you guys here so you can see what's going on. There is a screw right back there that we're going to be loosening. So grab my flathead here, getting all this prepped. This is a lot easier when you don't have fuel in the tank, but we got this. Let's go ahead and undo this because this is the only thing holding the tank on now at this point. So, we got some gushing fuel there. Hold up. A little bit of fuel started coming out when I loosened that. This damn tank. It's really hard to get this thing to settle anywhere without rocking around. I'm wondering if that petcock's in good shape. Let me check something and I'll be right back, you guys. Okay, well, let's just hope that primary is the proper setting, because that's what I'm going to go with. If it's not, there's not a ton of fuel in the tank. I can just tilt it back if it starts to pour out. I really don't want it to, but I will. So I'm going to loosen this enough that I can pop that line off and hope for the best, right? It's set on primary. So what I'm going to do is move this tank down just a little bit, like so. Wait for it to lock in down there somewhat. All right. And I'm going to pop this line off and hope the fuel doesn't start pouring out of it. Yep, just like that. Damn it, that's exactly what I didn't want. So, clearly the petcock on this does not work. Okay, well, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to drain the rest of this fuel off into an actual tank. That way I don't have to mess with this anymore, because I don't want this leaking all over the place. So for now, I'm just going to set it right there. When I get a chance, we'll drain the rest of that fuel out. That is exactly what I was worried about happening. Okay. Well, that being said, I see that he is 100% correct. He did run little vacuum leads down to things. So, really cool. I'm going to take you guys off the tripod so I can show you something here. So, as I discussed before, this was owned by a guy who knew what he was doing. And normally, to work on the synchronization of the carbs, you would have to pull the carbs and then get all the way down to them and hook the ventilation tubes to them. But this gentleman was super awesome, and well, as you can see, he installed all 4 of them up here with leads so that you don't have to do that. And then he put little vacuum tips on there. So very cool. That's quite nice that that's the case. And we just need to establish which one goes to which cylinder now, which shouldn't be too hard, relatively hard anyways. So I think we're good to go. I think we've got what we're looking for here. Nice. Easy peasy. So, and then I think that outside line is this one. I think this is the, yep, and that's the one that connects to the fuel tank. So 4 fuel tank, 3 right here. So 4 is the one that goes up to the petcock to feed it fuel. All right, this is number 3, number 2, and number 1. So 1, 2, 3, 4. And that's how we're going to connect them. So I got to get out my little box of goodies up there so I can hook my extenders on there so that we can put the tips in here and then get them connected, and we'll go from there. So give me a second to get all of this prepared. I'll show you what we got going on. All right, so I want to pick you guys up, show you what we got going on here. So cylinder 1, cylinder 2, cylinder 3, cylinder 4. If you route the wires all the way up, cylinder 1, cylinder 2, cylinder 3, cylinder 4. Now, let me close the tripod here so I can get you guys in a little bit closer, like so. I want to see if I can point this out to you. Let me actually zoom in. And yeah, okay, so if you can see it way down there, there is a screw there. There's a screw in the center down there. And there is a screw right there. This screw sets these 2 carbs in sync. The screw on the outside over here sets these 2 carbs in sync. And then the screw in the middle synchronizes carbs 3 and 4 to 1 and 2. So basically we're going to start with these. So we're going to be looking at these gauges until they match. Hopefully we can get them lined up. And then we're going to move on to the outside ones and line those up. And then we're going to move to the middle screw and line them all up. So fun stuff. This is tuning at its finest. So remember, we're starting with the outside screw. 3 screws. 1. So we're starting with this one, then moving to that one, and then moving to this one. This one sets these 2 in sync. That screw over there sets these 2 in sync. And then the screw in the middle sets these and these together to make them one, just like they would look right here, right now. That's kind of what we're looking for on here. But first, we have to warm the bike up. So I'm going to start the bike up. We're going to let it warm up for a bit, and then we're going to go to the gauges, and we're going to twist the nozzles so that we can set this for how tight our tolerance is. We want our needle basically no bounce. That's what we're looking for. But this will give us an idea of how honed in and synchronized these carbs are. So I've got them connected to each vacuum lead, and I have to set up a funnel on here so I can put some gas in here while we run it, which is frustrating, but I think I have an extra line somewhere. So I may actually end up hooking another wire up to here and running it down to hold the bottle in place or something. I've got one somewhere. We'll see. I might just have a little cup and I'll just keep adding gas as necessary through a funnel, and we can do it that way. But first we have to get the bike idling with no choke, and we need to let it run until it warms up. So that's the next step. Okay guys, I tried to put this somewhere where you could see everything. I don't have a ton of room here clearly, as Moto-Resto said in his video, I'm clearly using a OSHA approved container here to do this with. That being said, we're going to be pouring some fuel down in here. We're going to start this bike up. I've got all the vacuum leads hooked up now, if you guys can see. So yeah, that's it. We're ready to kick this off and start turning some screwdrivers here. So let's get the warm-up process out of the way, and then we'll start setting carbs 1 and 2, and I'll try to talk you through the sequence of what I'm doing down here. All right, so let's get this thing turned on and running. Alrighty guys, I hope the bike's not too loud for you. So I'm letting the bike warm up right now. I apologize if it's too loud. I have my mic connected to my shirt, so I don't know what you're going to be able to hear and what you're not going to be able to hear. But right now, it's warming up, and you can tell they're slightly out of sync. So it's still warming up pretty well. It's not hot yet, so we're going to let this thing. It's a cool day out, so we're going to let this thing go through its whole warm-up process here. So we're going to add a little bit more fuel because it's starting to drink it. And I'm going to talk you guys through the procedure here, but first we got to let her warm up. So we definitely have some carbs that are a little bit off. These two are almost synchronized, but not quite. These two are pretty much in line with each other, so I don't think I have to do too much. I'll loosen this one just a little bit. Yeah, these are, see if I can slow the needle bounce down just a little bit here. Release that one, bring it in a little tighter. Let's release this one, bring it in a little tighter. Tighten it up till the bounce slows down. There it is. Loosen this one. So they're definitely out of sync. So by twisting these, I'm slowing the needle down. If I open these up really wide, you'll see the needle just do whatever. See what I mean? And if I tighten it too much, the needle won't do anything. But the idea is to keep them from bouncing too much. That's about it right there. That's what you want. So we're going to tighten it down a little bit more. Tighten this one down just a tad bit more and keep the bounce really slow. Tighten this one down a bit more. Oh, too much. We don't want big movements, we want precise movements. About right there. So these two are definitely out of sync, and these are very close to being in sync. They're actually perfect. These two are perfect. These ones are out. They're out. So that bike's warmed up pretty good now. So I'm going to add a little bit more fuel in there. All right. So because these two are in sync, I'm not going to mess with this outside screw. What I'm going to do is mess with this one over here and see if we can line these up. So I'm going to move you guys over so you can see what's going on here. And I want you to be able to watch the bounce. So let me zoom in here. So you can see that they're slightly out. So they're not quite synced up. The other two on the left, carb 1 and 2 are good. Carb 3 and 4 are slightly out of sync. So we're going to sync those now. Turning the screwdriver to the left. That's pretty close. Let's tighten this one down a little bit more. I don't like how much this one's bouncing. There we go. Ah, damn, I'm about to take the tool case out of here. It's getting very noisy. Let me just remove the tool case so it stops making noise. There's no seat on it to hold the tool case in place, so. So these two are pretty much synced up at this point. So now we're going to sync these to those. And we're going to do that by messing with the middle screw. So let me add a bit more fuel to my container here because I'm going to be messing with the middle one for a minute. There we go. Grab my screwdriver. All right. Oh, she loves it. Listen to that. Oh, baby. They were slightly out of sync and the idle is still set a little too low. But that's about what it should look like right there. Now that is synchronized carbs. Huh? What do you think? It sounds better. Very responsive. Now what we're going to do is turn the idle up just slightly on the bottom of the carb here. There we go. This machine sounds really dialed in. Look at that. She's happy. It sounds really smooth now. Definitely sounds smooth. And that's how you synchronize carburetors. Oh, she sounds dumb happy now. Alright, so there you go. All the carbs are synchronized with each other now. I'm letting it run out of gas here a little bit. I wanted to make sure I got all the gas out before I continued, but check it out. Super responsive. They're all coming right back to where they should. That, ladies and gentlemen, is a synchronized set of carburetors. All four of them have been synced. It sounds way smoother. I'm not hearing any of that low end like I was getting before, so we can shut her down now. There we go. And then they should all go back up to 0 out. And that's what they did. So, boom, there you go. That is fully synchronized carbs. They were definitely slightly out of whack. You could hear it the way it was idling. It just sounded weird. So, yeah, it sounds way smoother now that they're idling how they should. So, there you go. Now I'm just going to slap all this back together, remove my OSHA approved container. And, yeah, I think we're good to go. So, I want to thank him, first of all, Moto-Resto, for putting these on here, because this kept me from having to remove the carbs and then hook these up to the carbs. So what he did when he owned it was he put these lines in here and put vacuum caps on them, which unfortunately the vacuum caps have failed at this point. So I'm probably just going to cut these and melt them shut for now. That way I can reuse them later. And then next time I do the job, I'll put some new vacuum caps on there. But as of right now, they're working good. And this one I don't have to worry about because this one connects right to the fuel tank. So, but these three are going to get cut and capped, melted shut, and then put back to how he had them. But yeah, no, that's gorgeous. Oh man, they were definitely out of sync. Not as bad as I thought, but they were still out of sync. As soon as I honed them in together and they started communicating properly, boy, it just the sound of the bike got better instantly. It was just like, came into like a nice humming, you know, oh, this is where I want to be at, you know. So now this is going to be even a better ride, but I needed to do that. That had to be done, I think. So, and it definitely calmed down a little bit of that jerkiness I was hearing down here. Still hear it slightly, but not nearly as bad. So I think we're good to go. Next would be probably remove the carbs when I get a chance, and a little bit here in the near future we'll move the carbs, and we'll clean the jets and check the float height inspection, all that kind of stuff. But yeah, so I definitely wanted to sync. They were slightly out of sync, and in the future here we're also going to do a video on doing valves on this, but I think, you know, honestly I would rather do that with Moto-Resto, because technically, guys, I'm just a garage mechanic, man. He's very knowledgeable, so I'm not going to sit here and bullshit and be like, oh, I know more than this guy, because I really fucking don't. He's very intelligent. It's fun talking to him. I'm learning as I go with him on some of this stuff, so this is kind of fun. Normally, if I want to know something, I just teach myself, and that's how this works. But having him around is really nice, because he's already worked on this bike. It was his bike, and his son-in-law's before him, so I actually know 3 of the previous owners of this bike now. And he owns a shop here local in Bradenton, so I will actually put a link to his shop, and I'll put a link to his YouTube channel if you guys want to watch Moto-Resto. Tom's a pretty nice guy, and he's helping me along with this project that he's already worked on, and I'm learning a lot about what he's already done to it, so that's pretty neat. He really simplified my life on a lot of stuff, but it definitely needed a carb sync. I mean, just the moment I got them synced up, this thing just sounded happy. It just kind of went, and then I synced them up, and you just hear it go, and they just started all working in sync. The change of the engine was just beautiful. It was beautiful to watch and listen to. So there you go, guys. So remember, the outside screw here is for carb 1 and 2. The outside screw over there is for carb 3 and 4. And then the middle screw is pulling carb 1 and 2 over to 3 and 4 and syncing them together. So it's a beautiful thing when carbs are synced and sound good and everything is just working how it should. It's beautiful. It's just absolutely a beautiful thing. So I'm going to disconnect all this because I have a lot of work to do to put it all back together and all that good stuff. And I hope you guys enjoyed that and you learned a little bit about Suzuki Bandit 1200 carb syncs. I realize I have a few parts that I need to replace. There's a couple lines in here that are snapped off, and filter systems, whatever. Anyways, breather lines, whatever. So I have to order some stuff for these carbs because I want this to be a peak performance machine. I mean, it's incredible. It's lasted 60,000 miles, and I would like to see if we can actually get 100,000 miles out of this bike before we toast it. So, or before it toasts. I saw a guy on the Facebook group today, Everything Suzuki Bandit, and I was like, how many miles do you guys have on yours? And some guy's like, I have 133,000, original engine, original everything still going. I was like, oh my God, I did not realize these bikes can go for that long. So maybe it's just the Bandits. I've never seen other sport bikes make this kind of mileage and still run this fucking good. So that's incredible. Give it to Suzuki for that one, man. Wow. So anyways, I'm hoping to put, 40,000 miles on this thing myself and see how it does after that. That would be awesome. I've got some I got some touring bags coming for this, and it runs good enough, and it had a transmission put in 3 years ago. Basically almost a brand new transmission put in 3 years ago, so the tranny shifts perfect. I mean, the engine overall, the health of the engine sounds great. The carbs are still in fairly good shape, and I mean, I don't know. There's really not much you can say about a bike that functions and runs this long with this, minimal amount of issues. It's crazy. So I don't know. Let's take this bike to its limit and see what it's capable of. I'd love to see if we can get another 40,000 miles out of this bike. That would be insane. So anyways, guys, I think I've done enough talking. You guys have a good one. Don't forget to subscribe if you learned something today. And don't forget to check out, Moto. He's a really cool dude, man. Tom's a good dude. Moto-Resto is a really good guy. And I'm hoping to actually do some collaboration stuff with him in the future. So we'll check that out. So, all right, guys. Later.
Are you sure this is okay? You're in country, dude. Live a little. Now, she's pretty sensitive, so go easy on the throttle, okay? All right.